Welcome, everybody. Um, I've got four people out there. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm muting my phone because you have to mute your phone. Um, there we go. It's muted. Okay. And I got some fun stuff. I did something silly. I brought my raincoat over my rain parka so that I could give you a different look. And since in the next couple of days, we're going to be wearing the rain parkas, which is great because we've been so drought stricken that it's just so nice to hear about all the rain that's coming our way. I'm just chitting and chatting right now, and a lot of you know that this is the last official regular garden coach that we have planned for the season. We will do specials. So I'm going to keep posting all the things that I see at the microscope or at the diagnostic desk. And I'm going to keep a list posted so people can be aware of what I'm seeing and what's coming in. I've got in this presentation today, I have some cautions, caution. This is what we're predicting that's going to be coming up next, like Japanese beetles. And I'm so worried about the numbers that we're going to see because we had such a mild winter. And if it fits with the numbers of insects I'm seeing in the other areas, we could be hit pretty hard with Japanese beetles. So and then with all the nice rain we're getting, they're probably going to recover and be able to pupate like they're supposed to. So more on that in just a minute. Let me see. We have 4 minutes to go. So welcome everybody. We've got 5 people, and then that includes me. So there's 4 and me. It's been a fun. The numbers have been going down. I think people are enjoying their gardens more, and instead of watching the garden coach. And so that's one of the reasons I decided to not do this on a weekly basis, but we're going to watch and see, and we'll send everybody emails to let them know when there's got to be when the garden coach has to come back and make some announcements and update you all or coach you again. So 3 more minutes. Great. My big Yeti of my ice water. Isn't it nice not wearing masks as much as we've had to in the past? It's nice to be able to take a deep breath and not be all masked up. So, we have a Q&A already. Hi, Tricia. Hi, Jennifer. I emailed you a photo of a bug on one type of milkweed. Did you get it? No, Tricia, I didn't see it yet. I wasn't able to attend last week's session. If you addressed it, we can address offline, and I was going to stop in this afternoon. All right, Tricia, that's great. I'll answer it when I see you. Very good, very good. This question and answer thing is pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty cool. Okay. And I'll look for that email. Let's go. I'm going to put this back down again. I'll just minimize it. Ooh, that works great. Okay, and what can I do about dandelions and other weeds in the garden bed? I didn't apply preen. Ooh, this is to Maggie, to everyone. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. There's a great product from the Bio Advanced people or the Natria, and it's called. Oh no! This is from, and I have a photo of the product in the PowerPoint, and it's an iron-based contact insecticide. Contact. I should have brought my coffee Yeti instead of my iced water Yeti. It's an herbicide, and you can use it in like a garden bed because it's not in the soil, and you just spray the tops of the weeds, and the iron Hedida which is the active ingredient, causes iron toxicity. And when the sun shines on the weed, it burns the top off. And you might have to do that every 6 weeks in order, especially on dandelions, in order for the energy in the roots to go away. But that will do the trick. And I'll point that out to you when I get to it on, in the PowerPoint. I have a photo of that product. Okay, so. Oh, okay. Now, everybody, when you do have questions, put them in the Q&A column rather than the chat box. And then that was Maggie had that in the chat box. Maggie, I'll make sure and point that product out when we get to it. And we're 1 minute before start, so I didn't want to scare everybody. We have 7 people and me, and we'll get started in just a minute. And I'm gonna put the chat box back down. Put your questions in the Q&A column. Uh-oh, what did I do? Oh, I'm right here. Hold on. All right, let's do this. There we go. We're back there. I minimized the wrong thing. It was I thought I was getting rid of the chat box. Ooh, I hate that chat box. All right. Well, okay, it is now 10 a.m. So I'm going to share the screen for the PowerPoint and we'll go ahead and get started. And here we go. Here's share the screen. And I did a new photo of me, everybody. So this is, and let me just I gotta do the slideshow and get it started the right way. Okay, slideshow from beginning. Here we go. This is me in my sun hat out under the umbrella in the center courtyard. And this is when we were talking, I did a presentation on how to plant your vegetables. And it was really fun, but it was one of those hot days. I wasn't quite at the melting point yet, but I was starting to get close. So here we go, and we'll go ahead and get started. Here the summary of the topics, and or the outline of the topics. What's neat is I'm in close contact with the University of Illinois Plant Clinic, and it was really fun to get the summary of what they've been seeing all season, which really matches with what I've been seeing. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to emphasize watering, even though I got 2 inches at my house the night the tornadoes hit. And then we're supposed to get a couple more. Tracy Butler was predicting 2 to 4 inches tonight and then tomorrow morning. But there were 2 different patterns. There was a European pattern and the American pattern, and the European said 2 to 4 inches. I would pray for that just to help our plants get over it. But we do need the rain. Boy, we need the rain. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about how the best way to water. Divide the root area into quarters, and then put the watering wand over quarter number 1, count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quadrant number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quadrant number 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And quadrant number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do that 3 times. That way you're sure you have hydrated the whole root ball. And that's particularly important for any newly planted plants. So that's, and that really works. People are really responding nicely and positively to that advice, calling me back saying, oh my gosh, my plants look so much better. So follow that advice. It's also time to weed. The weeds are starting to take over. And then I've got the list of all the things I've seen at the diagnostic desk. And so those are going to be the Rocky Horror Picture Show events today. Lawn care, keep doing the lawn care. You're not too late if you haven't put that summer fertilizer down. And then rabbits. Oh my gosh, this morning I took another picture of another baby rabbit in a different part of my garden. Oh, they are just awful. And then the fungal diseases. Now that we are getting more rain, the fungal diseases are going to start popping back up again. So, I'm going to talk about how to do your preventative and your protection. Weed prevention, use that preen, get that preen down. That really reduces the number of seeds that germinate and let those weeds get started. And then I'm going to show you the latest thing in my garden, in my garden too. Oh, darn, no. I took some photos and they didn't get sent like they should have on the email, but I can show you when you come in and see me. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep started here. This is, and I didn't do this very well. I mean, didn't really fancy. I just cut and pasted the document in the PowerPoint screen. So you can see lots arborvitae and needle blight. It's called Phyllosticta needle blight. And then they're also suffering from environmental stress, which means lack of water, lack of rain, and the C behind each of these is that it was confirmed. The S behind each of these is suspected. Basil had Pythium root rot and Volutella blight and Fusarium canker. That boxwood, there was boxwood leaf miner. We've been talking about that every garden coach. Boxwood psyllid, same thing. Boxwood spider mite, same thing. And environmental stress, that's lack of rain, and too much heat. Cedars, and that's eastern red cedar. That's the juniper, and it's called Pestilotiopsis needle blight. And so I've been seeing lots of that. And then also environmental stress, Douglas fir, Swiss needle cast, eastern redbud, environmental stress. That's the rain, and eastern redbud and verticillium wilt. They've had suspected vert wilt. Impatiens, Pythium root rot. I was so glad to see on the impatiens that it was just Pythium root rot. It wasn't the impatiens downy mildew. That's pretty cool. Juniper, there's juniper scale. I've shown you samples of that. And then Pestilotiopsis, and then also needle blight, and that's Phomopsis needle tip blight. Kale, nutrient deficiency. That means fertilizer on your in your vegetable garden. Lavender, Rhizoctonia root rot. They like it really well drained. Maple anthracnose. I've shown you pictures of anthracnose. Fungal cankers. That's really that's on the stems. And then gloomy scale. Don't you love that name, gloomy scale? I haven't seen that up here, which is, I like saying that. Oak, we've had oak twig canker and fungal cankers. I've seen those. Environmental stress, lack of rain. Pears, ornamentals in pears, it's called Entomosporium leaf spot. And then on spruces, spruce spider mite, Rhizospheris needle cast, and Stigmina needle cast, and also Cytospora canker. And then environmental stress. I feel like I should list environmental stress as one of my problems. Oh, okay. Strawberries. There's been anthracnose, basil rot, Mycosphaerella leaf spot, and then cultural problems. That's again the drought. And then tomato, Septoria leaf spot, and nutrient deficiency. And I need to move this. Hold on. And watermelon, Rhizoctonia. Okay, so let's keep going. And then this was one of the texts, and they've had a lot of, the maple samples were the most submitted down at the University Plant Clinic. And then, then anthracnose, they've seen a lot of anthracnose on maple and oak. And that was because the early rain, and they've had more rain down in the central part of the state. So there was much more anthracnose down there. Needle blights and needle casts are continuing to be problematic. And that's up here too, spruce, arborvitae, and pines. And then apple scab. I've seen some apple scab on the crab apples, and that was from the little amount of rain that we had early. So I won't read all this to you, but boxwood blight continues to be a problem all over the state, especially up here in the northern part of the state. So here we go. Now, warning, warning, warning. And I'm going to go forward and then back again. All right, the degree days, and the degree days, I've talked about that in Garden Coach all through the season. And the growing degree days are an accumulated number of and there's base 30 and base 50. Horticulturists use base 50, farmers use base 30. And so for every day that is above 50, those temperatures, so say we're going to be 75 today, 25 is added to an accumulated number. When you look at this map, you can see the accumulated numbers in all monitoring stations. So up here, we're at 860, and that's actually in a county, about 3 out from where we are here, at the lake. So our numbers are going to be close, but maybe even a little, maybe a little lower. But what's important is on the, this thing is getting in my way. I was going to try to move that. The Japanese beetles occur, and you can see this here. It's right here. The Japanese beetles occur at 1200. Wait, let me just see if I can move this chart thing. I can't. Okay, I'm going to put it up at the top because that won't get in my way. All right, sorry for my technical thing. Okay, so the Japanese beetles emerge when the growing degree day number is at 1020, or in between 1020 and then 2100. And we're at 860 right now. So with this cool break we've had, it's really slowing the degree day accumulation down. So I'm going to go back here. Oh, and it's not going to go back. Come on. Huh. There we go. Okay, so you can see the life cycle of the Japanese beetles. What they do is the larvae burrow down in October and November down to a depth where they can survive our winter, our winter temperatures. And if we have a really cold winter and the ground freezes more deeply, then it kills off a lot of the grubs for the Japanese beetles. This year we had such a mild winter, and when we did get cold temperatures, it was in February, and we had 4 feet of snow. So our snow temperatures, we didn't freeze as deeply as we could have. So most of these dormant larvae have survived. Now they've come up to the surface. They did a little bit of feeding, excuse me, a little bit of feeding, and then they pupated. And they've been waiting for the right conditions to emerge. Excuse me. What I'm hoping for is that when our soil got so hot with that really bad heat wave that we were suffering through, the soil temperatures got up to 77. And that was enough to kill the roots of the grass plants. I'm hoping it was hot enough to kill some of the pupa, but we won't know. And you can see how they emerge, at the end of June, early July. They mate, and then the adults are feeding on all our plants above ground. Anything in the Rosaceae family, so roses, grapes, lindens, serviceberries, crab apples. So they can really do serious damage. And the photo up here on the left-hand side shows you how they'll just turn a leaf into just veins. They eat all the interveinal tissue. So I'm hoping everybody, this would be the weekend to spray anything in the rose family that you have in your garden with the systemic insecticides, and then they're protected for 30 days. Then plan to spray, once a month, or use the drench, the bio advanced rose and flower drench, and then that stays in the plants for 6 weeks. So, this is kind of the warning, be warned that they're going to be emerging within the next 2 weeks. And we'll start seeing them. I haven't heard anything about downstate just yet. And let me go back again, because you can see down in Champaign-Urbana, they're right at 960. And I haven't heard any reports from the southern part of the state. I'm going to be down there this weekend. I'm going down for a celebration of life for a really dear friend of my family, and I'm going to be down in Mount Vernon, Illinois. And I'm just noticing Mount Vernon's already at 1184. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for Japanese beetles down there. And isn't that pathetic? I'm going down for fun, and I'm going to be watching for Japanese beetles. Disgusting. Okay. Also, warning, in July and, in the mid-July or end of July, the viburnum leaf beetle adults are going to be reemerging and coming back. And then they'll be feeding on the viburnum leaves, mating, and then the females will be laying eggs. So make sure your viburnums are treated. If I was going to, prioritize what to do is, get the Bayer Advanced the Bio Advanced or the Bonide 12-month tree and shrub, and treat your viburnums, Okay, now watering, I emphasize that constantly. And, unless we're getting 2 inches of rain, every night or every day, make sure you water at least 3 times a week, all of your plants, and especially the big trees and big shrubs, give them a soak at least once a week, when we're in the 80s, the 80s. This cooler temperature has been a wonderful break for all of our plants, especially newly planted plants, since we got that 2 inches of rain over the weekend. Okay, and then make sure you've got a rain gauge, watch your rain gauge. And then these are just examples of the drought stress I've seen on this is oak leaf hydrangea, the poor arborvitae, where I'm seeing this all over the place. And a lot of people are just not aware that we have not been getting rain. So some of the sad cases of these plants I'm seeing is awful. Okay, now it's time for fun. Oh, and everybody, I'm going to be doing a garden tour of the nursery on Saturday morning. And so before the store opens, so starting at 8:30, I'm just going to do a 30 to 45-minute walkthrough, just pointing out all the things that all the fun things we have that are set up. And our visual people keep changing things and just making it more and more fun. We're going to be doing evenings in the garden where you can come after hours, like on Thursdays, and enjoy a glass of wine. And so watch your emails for that. We're going to be doing 2 of those garden walkthroughs, one this Saturday at 8:30. So we're going to open a half hour, meet at the nursery gate, and I'm going to walk everybody through just doing show and tell. And so it'll be really, I think it'll be really fun. And we're also going to do it 2 weeks from now also. So mark your calendars and watch your emails. All right. And then these are just our wonderful signature containers. The shade ones, you see that whole row of shade, just beautiful. And these were put together to last all through the summer. They have a time release fertilizer in it, so all you have to do is water, and they'll last all through the summer into fall. So really worth your investment on these. And then just another shot of more of the shade ones down the line. I love these hanging baskets for shade. They're filled with Plectranthus, which is a version, it's a large leaf version of the Swedish ivy, and then spider plants. Beautiful for, foliage hanging baskets for the shade. And then always check out the middle section of our nursery yard, where we have our farm, Chalet Farm featured plants. And instead of waiting for the farm truck, we're just putting them here, so you don't have to park outside in the parking lot. You just come in, and these are the valued plants, so they're priced at a special value. And it's usually what we have. If we have a lot of things in bloom at the farm, they're the ones that get excuse me, promoted. Goodness. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we keep going. These are our tropicals, and we got a huge shipment. It was a week ago, and so here's where they're located. We've got the mandavillas, we've got the Hawaiian Thai plants, all of the palms, all of the New Zealand red flax, the cannas. You can see the cannas over Agapodium over to the left. And then I love these. These are the Chick Charms collection. This is a great guy, great hybridizer, developed these out of Michigan, and just an incredible guy. And these are the collections in planted containers, or you can buy them separately in small pots. Oh, and look at all the hibiscus down on the ground. And then this is the back of the courtyard with all the fun hanging baskets. These are the shade hanging baskets, and then all the trellises for the tomato plants. Now is when they're going to start needing staking pretty soon. And then I love this display. A lot of people don't know we have this, and this is, you can see the troughs over on the shelving unit, and then these are all the miniature evergreens that can be planted in and make a trough garden. and they're hardy to stay outside over winter. Our fern collection, and these are the non-hardy ferns, and great for outdoors in the shade and for using on the patios. You can actually incorporate these into shade gardens, but just we plan to lift them and bring them back inside. The annuals, you can see our annuals. These are the sun annuals, categorized by color: white, yellow, red, pink, blue, and purple. And then looking from the shade into the sun annuals, and where the shade, looking from the sun into the shade annuals, where the shade is because they're all under that shade cloth. And then I love how our merchandising staff and visual has put all of our foliage plants, they've grouped them together for containers, and also if you want to use them in ground beds, they make great ground cover plants, and categorized mostly by color, which is really great, really great. And our hanging baskets, look at these great hanging baskets. And then this is also looking into the roses, and then across the aisle into the hydrangeas. Here's our courtyard. There's the umbrella that I was sitting under, and I was actually standing under it doing the presentation last weekend. And here we go. And then our vegetables, buy one, get one free this weekend. And what a great way to really, add to your garden. Tons and tons of tomatoes, great herbs, and see our herb collection, and tomatoes and peppers. And then the best fertilizer to use, and what I love about the Dr. Earth tomato, vegetable, and herb food is it lasts 60 days, 2 months, one application now, another one at the end of August when all the crops are coming in. So great product, great product. Here we are looking across the roses and into the hydrangea bed. And then these are all the hydrangeas. What's so much fun in selling hydrangeas is when they start showing off. It makes selling them so much easier when they start showing color. Look at this one. Isn't this beautiful? And then these are the oh, I just drew a total blank. These are the paniculata types that are just starting to color up. And then the oak leaf hydrangeas, beautiful. Okay, and Annabelles. I mean, I'm hoping all your Annabelles are looking this great out in your garden. And these were the Annabelles, or these were the hydrangeas that the only ones we've ever had around here for many years. And it was a selection from one of the professors that I had at University of Illinois, and it was found in Anna, Illinois. Geraniums and more of our sun-loving annuals. The spirea are looking phenomenal, and they should be looking great in your garden right now. These are mock oranges in our shade area and the shade display area. And then all the coleus. This is all of the shade annuals. And then looking down the aisle of the shade annuals with the ferns and all the tropical foliage and the hanging baskets. Here we go. The begonias, caladiums. Man, once it warmed up, the caladiums just look great, absolutely great. And then these are the alocasia, a type of elephant ears, and then the New Zealand red flags. And then these are impatiens, and these are the beacon impatiens that were developed by the Ball Horticulture Company that are resistant to the impatiens downy mildew. And it's interesting, I had 2 different customers come in to the diagnostic desk this last week with impatiens downy mildew. They purchased the regular impatiens from another source, another store, and because they had to water them so much, all of a sudden the impatiens downy mildew is set in. And it's a fungus that gets into, it can get into the leaves, and then it translocates down into the vascular system of the plant, clogs the vascular system, so then all the leaves drop off. So that's why you want to use the disease-resistant varieties. These are the sun impatiens, or the New Guinean patients that were hybridized for sun. But well, you know, if when you have them out in the hot sun, you have to make sure they're watered well. These are the succulents in the glass house. Oh, I pushed it too often. And then we got this huge shipment of Chinese evergreens that are just enormous and gorgeous. You can put them outside, you know, on the patio in the shade, and or bring them back in the house, you know, for a beautiful house plant, you know, for all winter. Now is the time to weed. I was going to take pictures of all the weeds in my garden, but my pride said, don't do it. But I have this tool, and this is one of the Dutch hoes, and it has a 7-foot long handle, and then with the push pull handle, and so you use your arms stretched out and your total body to push and pull, and because of that triangle, or you know, that rectangular shape, or that diamond shape, the blades are sharpened on all 4 sides. So whenever you push forward, you cut weeds off underneath the soil level, and you pull back, you cut weeds off. You can make all kinds of progress getting the weeds out of your garden with that. Or you can do this, get down on your hands and knees and do it. And then I love, you know, get a Hocho knife out, but keep on top of those weeds, keep on top, because they can really get out of hand. They really get ahead. Okay, so now we're here. Oh, I'm right on schedule, everybody. Now we're here for the samples seen at the diagnostic desk. And I'd wondered why I hadn't been seeing any of this next thing, magnolia scale. And I got this sample in. I am not going to take it out of the bag because it is so sticky. It is so sticky from the honeydew, from all of the insects that are sucking the juices of the plant. And I got this very interesting article from my good buddy, Dr. Joe Boggs. And, you know, and it's, you know, about the magnolia scale. And I'm just going to kind of tell you all about it. Okay. So you can see sigil lady beetle larva is the one that looks like a mealybug. It's white and fuzzy, and it actually feeds on the magnolia scale. And this is what the magnolia scale looks like in spring. You hardly notice it because it's so flush. You know, it's stuck right against, and you can see the females are larger and oval, circular, and the males are elongated. So, you know, you can see the difference on that. Okay, so now this is what they look like, the females look like in early summer up on the upper left. And then in late summer, and they're just starting to look like this right now, they're all puffed up. So you can see them more clearly. And then they have this white fuzz kind of coming out from under them. And that's when they're laying eggs. And so you do have the good guys, you know, the lady beetle larval, and it's sigil. And we have a few of these up here. And what they're doing is they're actually just feeding on the scale. It's kind of cool. So you can see where the females are, the males are, and then the lady beetle larva. And then I love how Dr. Boggs or Joe puts the ruler up so you can see the size. You can get an idea. Now the secondary problem is the reason there is so much honeydew from magnolia scale is what they're trying to get, and what they want to get is the amino acids from the magnolia plant, but they have to suck so much sap, and they get so much sugar that when they excrete, they're just excreting sugar constantly, and they have to do so much feeding. That's why it's really stressful on the magnolias, especially if we're having a drought like we are right now. So, you know, so if we're getting the rain that's predicted, that's really going to help these magnolias. But then the secondary problem, that black sooty mold, that mold actually feeds on the honeydew. It's really difficult to get it off of the plant. So, you know, you can try to wash it off, but a lot of times you just have to live with it till the leaves drop in the fall. So the best thing is to treat, and I'm going to show you. I thought I put the photo of it after this. Oh, darn, Jenny! But you want to use that systemic and drench, and you pour it right at the trunk of the tree. You measure 1 ounce per inch of circumference of the trunk at shoulder height, and then make that solution for right where the trunk goes into the ground. That's called the root collar, and it stays in the plant for 12 months. Now, this is the potato beetle. I showed you this last week because I'd had samples come in the week before. I've had 5 other samples this week of this, and by now the larva has turned into the adult. And so you're going to see this striped beetle, and so use the tomato and veg insecticide on your vegetable crops to help control this. And then tons and tons of samples of the 4-line plant bug. I probably had 20 just in the past 3 days. And we had the nymph, and now we have the adults. And they have that sucking mouth part. This is the classic damage that they do. Oh, you can see it on the right-hand picture. And they insert their stylus, which is like a needle, into the leaf, suck the section dry, and then move, and they make all these like polka dot surfaces, on the plant. So keep your eyes out for that. And then this was the actual 4-line plant bug that I got a sample of, and you can see the sample. I didn't take it out of the bag because I didn't want it to get away. So it's always nice. I've been seeing the samples of the damage for the last 3 weeks, and this was the first sample where I actually got the live insect, so I can say for sure that was it. Now, rose slugs, we're seeing the bristly rose slug, which is the one down in the lower part of the screen. And it has actually 5 life cycles in the summertime. The smooth slug, the smooth rose slug, 1 life cycle. But the bristly rose slug kind of came in, we've been seeing it about 12 years now. So, and I've said this before, that I have never seen the adult sawfly, not ever. It's that small, and they kind of come in and stealth, do their work, lay the eggs, and they're gone. But I see all the damage, and I've probably had 5 samples a day of this from people that are bringing their roses in, saying, "What's happened? What's happened?" Okay, and then bagworms. Boy, keep your eye open. I mentioned this last week, but you get bagworms on evergreens, and also bagworms on deciduous plants. And so the bags look totally different. It's just so weird. It's the same insect, but the bags look different. It fascinates me. And then you'll see them in all different ages in late July. This is a sample from late July. Okay, as they grow. Japanese yews, oh man, they're suffering. I've talked about this every week. They really need to be watered well, and they suffered a year ago when we had the 9 3/4 inches of rain in May, and so their root systems have been not really in good shape. So use Root and Grow on them, and then water them on a regular basis, at like twice a week with the heat and the drought that we've been having. Okay, eriophyid mites, I keep seeing this, and powdery mildew on 9-bark. Again, probably about 15 samples a week of this. So you spray with the 3-in-1. It has the insecticide, the fungicide, and the miticide in it. And we're going to see powdery mildew back on the lawns again because of having more and more rain. So keep your eyes open for that. Spider mites, tons of spider mites because of the heat. So spider mites on boxwood, spider mites on spruces, spider mites on arborvitae. And spider mites on burning bush. They're starting to come in. Samples are starting to come in. Okay, Volutella stem canker, seeing a lot of this, as well as the leaf miner on boxwood. The Volutella stem blight on Pachysandra. This got inoculated a year ago, and we're still seeing the damage. And the disease hasn't been as active this year because of the heat and the drought. But I would say if you have any brown areas in your Pachysandra, get Immunox and spray it now. Spray it now, just to help prevent this. And that you can see, if you're looking closely, you can see the Volutella leaf blight on the leaves. Those are the leaf spots. And then you can see when you look down into the, underneath the leaf surfaces, you can see the stems that are affected and impacted by this. And it's a soil-borne fungus. So spray with the Immunox, replant areas that are bare, spray those plants with Immunox before you plant them, and then again 3 different times, 2 weeks apart, and that will help. And then watch for 2,4-D damage. I showed you this last week on hostas, but tomatoes are kind of the canary in the coal mine for 2,4-D and 2,4-D volatile fumes. And when we were so hot, and the weed killers had been applied, and again, those are amine chemicals. They volatilize, those vapors drift into in actively growing landscape plants, and then but also tomatoes. And you can see how you get all that twisting and curling, and then elongated leaf nodes, and then because it causes the plants to make 100 times the cells that they normally would, the plants feel like plastic, and that's why they're elongated and all twisted up. So be careful. My rule of thumb is if I haven't taken care of the weeds in my backyard before my tomatoes go in, I live with the weeds and I deal with the weeds at the end of summer in August and September when I'm doing harvest on my tomatoes. So it's a tough rule to follow, but I do it because I love my tomatoes. Okay, aphids on honeysuckle, and then everyone was upset about the pale green patches in the lawn early in the season, and this is what's happening to them. When we got so hot and we've been so dry, they've browned out. And we love it when the annual bluegrass and the rough stem bluegrass dies out, but unfortunately it looks bad. And then people think that it's the patch disease is showing up early, and it's not. This is just this annual weedy grass that's dying out because of the environmental conditions. And again, it just looks terrible. But use a pre-emergent next season, early, and it'll prevent these from germinating and being weeds in your lawn again. Okay, mulching. Again, it's really going to be beneficial, especially once we start getting the rain again. Mulch your gardens because it's going to help keep the soil moisture more consistent and the soil temperature more even. So leaf mulch, cotton burr compost, shredded pine bark, and shredded hardwood are my favorites. Okay, disease control. I was talking about Immunox with the lawns, and also infuse with the lawns, and then also on things like your crab apples, and it's actually cleared for use on tomatoes if you don't have fruit on the tomatoes. So you can use this within 14 days of harvest on tomatoes, which is great. And then I have this bottom picture showing the concentrate of the BioAdvance 3-in-1. It has the insecticide, systemic fungicide, and the systemic mite control. And you can use it in the Ortho Hosen sprayer, which you just pour the concentrate in, set the dial for the recommended amount of the dosage, and it's usually 1 ounce per gallon. And then you can also use the all seasons oil spray. This is for a mite, an Erythiid mite, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Here again, Immunox fungicide is made with myclobutanil is the active ingredient, and it stays in the tissues that have been sprayed for 14 days. I love this stuff. I remember when this first came out, and boy, it was like the answer. It answered all of our requests, straight from heaven. I love this. It's wonderful. Okay, now here are all the insects that we're seeing at the microscope. Tons of aphids. The aphids are up here on the right-hand side. Whitefly. If you have hibiscus, you just always have whitefly. And then you have mealybugs, and then the 2-spotted spider mites. And then the photo of the spider mites show the mites plus those little round globules are the eggs. They're the eggs. So, and then this is what the larvae of the whitefly look like on the underneath side of a hibiscus. And they look like naked scales. Oh, I just noticed there's an aphid in there too. But you see the eggs, and then also the nymphs. And those are what cause problems for the hibiscus. This came in just this week. This is an aphid that was on a lilac leaf. And then I wanted to show you that when you look at aphids, and even if you just have a hand lens, you can see the cornicles. And those are those two, it looks like two extra tails on the backside of the tail. And aphids are the only ones that have that. So that's how you ID an aphid. And then we're going to see lots and lots of chewing insects. The number one that I'm warning everybody to watch out for, the Japanese beetles. They're up here on the right-hand corner. And then the sphinx moth, this is the larva of the sphinx moth. Those are kind of good guys, but they do damage leaves. And then you've got this is a milkweed up on the upper left hand. So that's a good guy too. That's the larva of a black swallowtail. So you have to draw that fine line of how much you're actually going to kill. And on the plants where you get alien insects like the Japanese beetles, protect them with a systemic. So you spray at dusk, and you're not going to kill a lot of the the pollinators because they're back at their hives. But then this insecticide is absorbed in the leaves and stays in for 30 days. So when the Japanese beetles come and take bites, you'll kill them and control them, and and not have as much damage. So, and you're not spraying once a week and getting a lot of collateral spray kill damage. So I love the systemics. I really love the drenches, but the closer you get to when they're going to emerge, the less effective the drenches are, because there's a time lag between when you pour it into the root system and the roots have to bring it up to the tips of the plants. So if you're close to when the insects are going to be there, use a spray for the best protection. Two-spotted spider mite, you can see under the microscope, this is what it looks like up on the left-hand side. With the naked eye, you usually see the little white flecking, and it looks like dust on the bottoms, underneath side of the leaves. And you'll see this fine webbing that has all the white flecks in it as well. And the white flecks are just the exoskeletons that are sloughed off as the mites, go through their different stages. But that's just a good ID, so you understand what you're looking at. This is, and the pear plants, I think I have a slide of this. I can't believe I took it out, but the ornamental pears and the edible pears too it's called a pear blister mite. And the mites overwinter under the bud scales, crawl out on the leaves, and it is a definite pattern. It looks like a leaf spot disease. It looks like a fungal leaf spot disease, but it's definitely pear blister mites. So if you have a plant that has it, you can control it. It's best to try to control it for next season, but you can spray, and I like the Hosen sprayer because that orthodilin spray has the capacity of spraying up to 25 feet. So if you're dealing with a tree, you can spray the systemic insect disease and mite control, and you want to spray that on. And then in March, you treat the whole tree with that same sprayer with an all seasons oil, and you use a dormant oil spray, and it will sink in underneath the bud scales and kill any overwintering mites. So this is the great formula for that, for controlling pears. And then I keep talking about the systemics. So you have the Bayer Advanced or the Bio Advanced. It goes by two names. Bayer is the old name. Bio Advanced is the new name of the company that bought them. And then we have the Bonide, and you mix these, drench it at the roots. These stay in the plant for 12 months, one full year. I love this. It's a great thing to use. And then we also have the other, the insect disease and mite control spray, the rose and flower, which is the insecticide only. And then and then these are just the different labels that we've had. Now back to public enemy number one, rabbits. And the babies are out there now. And the bad thing about baby rabbits is that they don't have a sense of smell or taste. It's a way that Mother Nature has protected them. And doggone it, I just keep seeing baby rabbits in my garden. This was in my front garden, and you can see right there underneath that hosta. I drove up and it was like, oh, baby rabbit. I zoomed in and there it is. I just hate seeing them. Okay, and because this is the damage they do. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars of damage to our landscape. So you want to use Plant Skeed. It's one of the best ones for deer, rabbits, and voles. And it's a blood-based product. Or we've been sold out, doggone it, of the liquid fence dual action rabbit repellent. And we haven't been able to get that refilled, but so, so you can also use Repelzol. And these are all the different repellents, Plantscape, Liquid Fence for Rabbits, Repelzol, Mole Max, and Rat Magic. And Rat Magic, I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. The name is horrible, but it's targeting any of the rodents. So rats, chipmunks, and squirrels. I've been testing my vegetable garden, and I didn't put my fences up. I've just been using Rat Magic around it. It's working to keep the chipmunks and squirrels out, but doggone it, the rabbits got up and ate all of my sugar snap peas to the ground. So it's failed me. So guess what? The fences are going to go back up this weekend. So, but the neat thing about this product, it's made of cedarwood oil, castor oil, mint oil, and oh my God, I forgot the last one, clove oil. And it irritates their nasal passages so much that especially, chipmunks and squirrels, keeps them out of, and they're not in my garden at all. So, okay, but rabbits, All right, now, again, taking care of your lawn. This is what we could be seeing in the next 2 months. These are the patch diseases, and it's Magna Porta or Rhizoctonia are the two fungi that cause that. They inoculated the lawn. They usually inoculate the lawn in the wetter periods of May. We didn't have any wet periods in May, which is kind of good. So that might be enough, but people are still using the fungicide, which is the smart thing to do. And then it kills the fungus so that the lesions won't show up. This, I'm just showing again, the lesions, that these look like lesions, but these are just the annual bluegrass and the rough stem bluegrass that are going dormant. So don't get tricked by that, okay? And then my front lawn, okay? And then these are the preventative fungicides, Immunox, and anytime they're in the hose and sprayer, they're calibrated to treat lawns, okay? So the one we've had in stock recently is the Infuse, and we're still trying to get the BioAdvance back and the Immunox. I'm going back. Lawn care, we're right at the end of June, going into July. So the most important thing, is to watch the rainfall, supplement, and then continue irrigation if we're not getting enough rain, and then apply, if you have not applied grub control, do it now, get the GrubX down now. And then I'm testing this on my own garden because there is so much crabgrass, especially in my backyard in the sunny area, that this product, it's from BioAdvance, and they call it 5-in-1 Weed and Feed because it fertilizes, it kills existing weeds, broadleaf weeds, it kills existing grassy weeds like crabgrass. It prevents any new crabgrass from germinating and prevents any broadleaf weeds from germinating. So I'm gonna be watching it and reporting, how it worked at the, back when we do more regular garden coaches at the end of the summer. So I'm testing. I'm being a guinea pig for you all. Okay. And then I just apologize. We have not been able to get the Espoma lawn food back in. They changed, I told you how Espoma changed all their tooling in their factory and they ran out of it, and we have not been able to get more, which is just ridiculous. But anyway, grubs, get the GrubX down. And this is what I'm worried about with the grubs and the, and then these are all the, you want to use the Immunox and or Infuse, spray it on the foliage of all the plants that are susceptible to the fungal diseases. And then these are the drenches, the BioAdvanced all-in-one rose and flower. If you don't want to use a fertilizer or use a separate fertilizer, use the Bonide Rose RX systemic drench. And then these are the Earthly Natural fungicides for use in the gardens, the vegetable gardens. My favorite is the liquid one. And I can't believe I don't have the spray bottle showing, but it's the liquid copper soap or copper octanoate. And that's from the Neudorf company. Okay. And then that's going to, this is apple scab. We're seeing this. The plants that were most susceptible got it anyway this year, even though we've been so dry. So I'm seeing samples come in. I just had like 5 samples of roses that had black spot all over them. But in with an explanation. It was a younger couple that just bought the house, and it was a beautiful garden that had not been taken care of for the last 3 years, because the original owner had sold the house, and then the people that were, didn't do anything. So none of the roses have been treated for 3 years. So that's why it was looking so bad. Okay, and then the selective, lawn weed killers. Right now you want to use the chickweed clover on oxalis. It's better for when it's hotter temperatures, but there is that warning: don't use it if you're going to have temperatures above 85 in the month. So usually this is the time of year where I tell people, if you haven't taken care of your weeds, wait until the end of the summer to use the weed killers on them. Okay, but this is the one I was talking about. Maggie, you had a question. This is the one I was talking about that you can use in your gardens where you have other plants, because this is not in the roots. This doesn't go down to the soil. It won't kill roots, but you spray it on the leaves of the weeds you want to get rid of. And it's called iron hetida. That's what the Fe is. That's the symbol from the periodic table of iron. And this is iron hetida. It's a chelated iron that coats the horizontal surface of the leaves and causes it to get iron toxicity, and the leaves turn black and the top of the leaf, the plant dies. So this is what you can use in mixed gardens. And then this is great. Any of the grassy weeds that are coming up, like in ground covers or in around up through roses. And this is used, they used to be called over the top. You spray it over the top of the good plants, and it just kills the grasses that are trying to come up through. And so then you want to do your proactive treatments, fertilize, water well, and then use Root and Grow. Root and Grow is the best transplanting liquid solution for any newly planted plants. And you mix it at 2 ounces, 4 tablespoons, in a gallon of water, and treat each plant with that. And if they're newly planted, I like to encourage people to use this every 2 weeks over the 6 to 8 week period where the roots are growing from the root ball into the surrounding soil. And boy, it makes a huge difference, just an absolute huge difference. And then I've talked about this a lot. I love this because this takes care of any diseases, any insects, and also mites. So it kind of takes care of all the problems you would have, and use it in an earth-friendly, natural way where you're spraying, at dusk when all the pollinators are back at their hives, and then it's absorbed in. And once it's dry, it's not going to kill anything that lands on the leaf. Only insects that eat the leaves, or like mites that suck the juices of the leaves. Okay, now this is what I'm doing in my garden. My vegetable garden keeps growing and looking greater and greater and greater. My tools for success are, again, the Dr. Earth vegetable planting mix, Rat Magic, I talked about that earlier, the Bio Advanced Rose and Flower all-in-one, and then Preen for areas where if I've weeded, then I put Preen down so that the weeds don't germinate. And then Grub-X to keep those grubs from taking over. And let me see, I added cotton burr mulch as a mulch over my vegetable garden. And again, I've had success with the Rat Magic as a perimeter band, except when the rabbits got in and ate mine down. So here are my cucumbers that are coming up. I was late getting them started, but not too late. It's actually better to do them when the soil is nice and warm and they're growing leaps and bounds. And then here's 10 minutes to the end, and it leaves me time for questions. And I couldn't resist putting a picture of the stars of summer in our gardens. And this is strawberry. This is Strawberry Sunday. Hydrangea. I absolutely love this. They start out white, and then you get the pink that goes all the way up to the points, and it is just such a spectacular show off in the garden. I absolutely love it, and they can stand a little more sun, but keep them well watered, in the garden. So what I'm going to do is go back to the questions and answers. And here we go. And then this from, thanks, Tricia. You're going to remail that picture. Very good. I'll see it. And then Maggie, will the herbicide kill the other plants in the bed? I kind of addressed that, Maggie. I also have Pachysandra and rhododendron bed with all the dandelions. What you're going to do is, is if you have if you have a dandelion coming up through the Pachysandra, take a piece of newspaper, and then what I do is I rip it and then rip a circle and then lay it around, covering the Pachysandra and around where the dandelion is. Spray with that FE, that iron herbicide, and then you just pull the newspaper up, wad it up, and throw it away. It absorbs any collateral spray, and it will kill that weed usually within 24 to 48 hours, and you won't damage. And as long as you don't spray the foliage of the rhododendron, you're fine. And you're spraying the weeds that are down, on the ground level, and usually you can spray without getting it, near the leaves of the rhododendron. Okay, and great. And let me just do this. I answer live. Okay, this helps me keep organized. All right, and then Carol, when I see new growth where the yellow needles fell off of the yews, or whether or will there be entirely new growth elsewhere? Okay, that's a great question about the yews. They usually don't grow new needles where they drop them, but the Japanese yews are actually one of the wonderful plants where if you do prune, and we call it Swiss cheese pruning, you want to kind of open up the upper surface and the side surfaces. Then when the sun gets in, it can cause the lateral buds, or the dormant buds along the woody stems, to start growing, and will fill out from the center out. So you can help those recover. And again, use that root and grow, because they really respond beautifully to that, to help them, kind of, it really helps, when they've had, root problems. So, okay, let me see. Here we go. And with that, I'm going to unshare the screen, stop sharing, and I'm going to move this. And I don't have any more chats. And so I think we're good. I ended 4 minutes before, the hour is up. And I want to thank you all for being so loyal to me as garden coach, and tuning in every week. And come and see me at the Plant Information Center or the diagnostic desk. Bring your samples. I remember in the old days when I had that little room. It was our what we called it, the garden pharmacy. I had a bookshelf where I put bulletin boards on either side of the bookshelf, and I would have all the samples posted on the bulletin board, and everyone loved it except for Tony Fulmer. Hated it. He thought it looked messy and awful, and but it was so handy, because if people didn't have a sample, I could walk over and say, does your plant look like this? And does the problem look like this? And so it was really great. It was a great learning tool, but we're not doing that anymore. But I just am putting up, like the notes at the diagnostic desk to kind of give you. And if you need to see something, I have great photos in my reference books that I can show you. So I think, let me see, we have 3 minutes. I'm going to look to see if we have any more questions. And it looks like we're good. And all the people that had signed up are still here. So I'm just gonna wish you well. Enjoy, your summer in July and August, and then watch your emails in case we have any emergency garden coach sessions that we'll be sending out. So, and then come and see me. Thank you, Linda, for your thank you. I just saw that on the chat, and your compliment. I really appreciate it. So, looks like I have one more Q&A. Let me just make sure. Is Root and Grow a liquid? Yes, it is. Root and Grow is a wonderful liquid, and it's the formulation is 4-10-3, 4% nitrogen, 10% phosphorus, and 3% potassium, plus a rooting hormone called N-butyric acid. And what I love, because it's liquid and you mix it with water, pour it into the root system, it is immediately absorbed by the roots. So I prefer it to the Biotone. Biotone is what we usually recommend that people use when they plant new plants. This year's been tough because it's been so dry and people haven't watered enough. So I love the Root and Grow because it works. It works instantaneously, and the plants respond like overnight to it. So it's a great product, and it comes in a 16 ounce, a 32 ounce, and a gallon size. So if you're doing a large planting of plants, boy, get that gallon and use that every 2 weeks, and you'll be amazed at how well the plants get established. Okay. All right, everybody. It is now, it's just striking 11. And thank you for all your thank yous, and come and see me in person. And it's so nice. We don't have to wear masks. You don't have to wear masks unless you want to, in the store or in the nursery. And let's come and share our smiles again. All right. All right. Thanks, everybody.